Google recently came out with the agent-to-agent protocol, and this is my attempt to give a high-level overview of my understanding of what it does. Now, before we go into the details, a little bit of context for people just starting to understand this concept. So a little bit of a timeline in terms of how we evolved to agent. So when LLMs first came out, the realization came pretty quickly that while we can chat with LLMs, we can't really get it to do anything. And so around 2022, the idea was, look, let's connect LLMs to tools so we can do something like schedule meetings, book a flight, etc. Now, with that came this realization that these activities were not very smooth, right? It's a little bit clunky. And the reason for that is, one, a lot of times there was no memory of the activities. And two, sometimes there was a lot of different types of APIs that needed to be connected. And something needed to help facilitate these things. Very much an oversimplification, but around 2024, Model Context Protocol came out, and that was the intent. So it was able to help make actions a lot smoother by remembering context and using the right tools to provide better, smoother actions. So then this idea came out that, we don't really just want agents to do one thing well, we want agents to work together. And today they do that, right? So it's not that before Google came out with agent-to-agent protocol, this wasn't a possibility. It does, but just like in the past where these interactions on actions weren't very smooth, these connections and collaborations across agents is not as smooth as people would like. And so that's the idea. And so Google said, look, how can we facilitate this, right? So how can we make it so that agents can actually work better together? And this is where agent-to-agent came together. And one thing to note is that, okay, so then what does it mean to have both Model Context Protocol and agent-to-agent? They're actually really nice complements to each other. So if you think about Model Context Protocol, it's basically making the activity smoother, making the action smoother, like scheduling. What agent-to-agent does, it makes collaboration smoother, okay? And so the best way to demonstrate this is with a very, very oversimplified example. So let's say we have a situation where we have a team lead agent, a calendar manager agent, and a location finder agent that finds rooms to schedule meetings. Now, today, these ecosystems exist, but it's not very smooth, okay? So the idea is, let's use agent-to-agent to make this process smoother, and I'll explain what that means in a second. But just to demonstrate how agent-to-agent and Model Context works together. So let's say that the team lead first says, hey, you know what? Calendar manager, can you find time for us to meet next week, right? So the idea is agent makes this communication smoother. Model Context Protocol then helps the calendar manager check availability better, okay? So once it's able to do that, the calendar manager says, okay, yep, I found some time. And you know what? It looks like Wednesday, 2 p.m. works for everybody. Again, the agent-to-agent protocol makes this collaboration smoother. The team lead then says, great, that works. Now, location finder, can you find a room that works for everyone? And the location finder, again, can use Model Context Protocol to smoothly find the actual room, which is the action, right? And uses agent-to-agent protocol to then smoothly communicate with the team lead. So just to reiterate, Model Context Protocol, in a way, it's about making the action smoother. Agent-to-agent protocol is enabling the collaboration in a smoother way. Okay, so how does it do that, right? So how does it actually do that? And at the heart of it, what the agent-to-agent protocol is essentially a playbook that lets the agents talk to each other in a more structured way. And so when agent A wants agent B to do something, let's say agent A is the team lead and agent B is the calendar manager, it's able to send a message through HTTP. And the heart of it, the critical part, is that it uses this rulebook through a JSON file to then send a very specific message so that the coordination between the team lead and the calendar manager is able to work better together. So in this particular example, what the team lead is asking the calendar manager to do is to find time to meet next week, right? And so the JSON format that's being sent is this very specific structure that specifies that it's a task, what it's here to do, who is being asked, and what is being asked, right? So for example, find a meeting for the team next week. Additionally, what this protocol does is that it provides a task ID. Let's say it's task ID 123, so that it's able to keep track of the conversation. And so you're able to follow back and forth until the booking actually takes place. Okay, so that's the gist of it. So then your question might be, okay, well, this is a nice little snippet, but what does the JSON format actually looks like? So Google actually provides this, so you can actually go into their specifications and actually see this file. So you're actually able to scroll through and see exactly what this file looks like, and it's about 2,000 rows of code. And what essentially it looks like it's complex and long, but all it really does is that it provides a clear rule book in terms of how agents can communicate to each other. So the JSON file is a rulebook that defines how agents using the agent-to-agent protocol should structure their messages, their tasks, errors, and capabilities so that they can really easily understand each other, right? And so we'll have things like describe what an agent is, what they can do, how to authenticate it, a container for conversation or jobs between the agents as a task, the message, so in this particular example, schedule a meeting, an artifact specifying the final result that the meeting is booked. So it's providing these structures on how these agents can talk to each other so that the conversation is a lot smoother between agents. That's the gist of it. And then your question might be, well, okay, this is just a giant JSON file, so what makes this agentic, right? And what makes this agentic is that, now we're looking at task-based messaging. So agents are able to work through flexible ongoing tasks, and it's not just a one-shot API call. Two, it's a natural conversation, right? So it's not specific code, but you can say things like, hey, schedule a meeting, or, when is Joe available? So it's a lot more natural in terms of how you can interact and how the agents interact with each other. And four, using the communication as text file, but it's really modality agnostic, meaning that it can be text files, images, forms, etc., and a lot of different other capabilities. So it's this fluidity in terms of how the agents can work together and communicate, and the types of information that can be shared is what makes it agentic. So that was a very high-level overview, and not precise, but directionally gives you an idea of how this works. And just to recap, right, the general idea is how can we make LLMs work together better? And in the very beginning, it was just LLMs and tools. Then it was using model context protocol to make the actions smoother and have more context. Now, agents have been working together, but the emergence of this agent protocol is to provide this JSON rulebook, the agents, so that it can better work together. So that's my very high-level summary. I'm sure it's not 100% precise, but hopefully it gives you a high-level understanding of agent-to-agent protocol and how it works.